Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. This is Vic, and welcome to the first of Vic's Basement Brewcast, the first one of 2021. Right, Richard? The first.
Hey!
And we have a couple of fantastic guests on here, well known to a lot of people out there in beer land. So welcome. And of course, we are brought to you, presented by South Jersey Beer Scene. Our sponsors are Art Gallery Tattoo, East Coast Eastern Homebrew with our friend Guy Carrata, who Kenny and Gab, I know you probably know Guy very, very well.
Great dude.
And also the sponsors of our Homebrew Harvest competition, fermented beverage and brew supply, as well as Keg and Barrel. So welcome everyone tonight. Richard, you're looking very well coiffed today.
I had an amazingly busy day. I woke up early and got all of this mess taken away.
Yeah.
Gabby and Kenny, you guys don't know, but I look like a mountain man before today. I was like,
Just let it go. You just let it go, huh, bro?
Yeah, full on, completely let it go since like beginning of November. So I was pretty out there. And
Did
then
you do it yourself?
Huh?
Did you do it yourself?
Yeah, I did it myself. Yep.
Yeah.
I used a flame. I feathered it, and just got it all good there. And then, but I went to the dentist this morning, which is also a fun day.
Oh.
So that's exciting early in the morning. Actually, I went to these nice people, which I don't know if it's going to show up in the glass because it's full, but Kelly Dental Arts. I'm giving them a free plug.
Dude, nice shameless plug, bro. That was key.
I thought you were showing me. They serve you beer there?
They did. They served me beer there. That's why they're the greatest dentist on the planet. No, they're a really great dentist. I'm not a fan of going to doctors or dentists, and they're really nice people. So,
yeah. We have with us, before I get into our news portion of our show, have our guests with us. One of our future up and coming breweries is Royal Bine Brewing. Now, is that actually Absecon is the actual address?
Yes, it is.
And if you both could introduce yourself. I know, like I said, you're probably well known to a lot of people in the brew industry here in South Jersey, but if you could introduce yourselves.
Go to it, Kat.
Sure. I'm Gabrielle. This is my dad, Kenny, father-daughter endeavor. Been trying to get Royal Bine Brewing open for a little while now. We'll chat about how times have, gone up and down with COVID and everything, but we've been in the game for a little while, and we're happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm Kenny Ward. There's nothing like the South Jersey beer scene. That's why I worked at Ship Bottom Brewery 3.5 years, and I just got the love of beer, how it's made, the people who drink it, and then obviously we wanted to migrate down to South Jersey because it just felt like there's a clique down there that gets it, and we want to be part of it. And, we're putting the pieces together to do that. So we're excited to get open in Absecon, hopefully in the next 6 to 8 months. We'll see. It all depends on ABC approval and all the other dynamics that rear its ugly head, but nothing can be worse than what we just endeavored for the last year and a half. And everyone has that story, right?
Excellent. Right. Yeah, we'll get into some details. Ship Bottom, Rob Zarko and his gang, great bunch of guys. I actually brewed with them back in August or so. My blueberry beer was on tap there for a while. So great time. Awesome guys. Awesome, not just guys, awesome crew there at Ship Bottom. Really
they're killing it, and they're in a great location, and the Lynn Villa has really took them to another level in the PA market. So it's awesome. You just want to seek success. Any kind of success you see, it's awesome.
Now, Kenny and Gab also have other talents. Kenny has an iconic nickname, which we will get to a little bit later on. I want to get to some of the news portion. Before I get to the news portion here, Richard, a little conversation. We always go out on a little bit of a tangent and so.
Sure.
Christmas season was just over. We really, haven't talked since Christmas season. You know what bothers me in Christmas season? Elves.
Okay. I can't wait for this one. Go ahead.
Every other medium, an elf is a patrician, big badass warrior, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
Legolas and Lord of the Rings,
armor and big
they're always
spears.
Badass warriors, no matter what you get. Somehow, Christmas time they become little tiny toy builders.
Well,
did
that's
that
a different
start?
sect of elves. They're the Northern Elves.
Okay.
A lot of thought, Vic. A lot of thought behind this. It's fantastic.
It just is something that bothered me over.
I feel you.
Richard, thank you for explaining to me.
Yeah, well, I've put a lot of thought into the elves. I know the elven community very well.
Yeah.
You know, be their spokesman.
It's not necessarily a good explanation, Richard, but it'll suffice for now because we
Good
want to get going and talk about beer. But that's just a little statement I had to make about elves there. So.
I love it.
Okay, now there's a few of our brewery friends celebrated anniversaries recently. Slacktod, I think Slacktod was his 5th anniversary. They just had an anniversary.
Another great brewery.
Yep.
Icarus also. Now Icarus is a great partner of ours with the Ocean County Home Brewers. If we had a home base, I would say it's Icarus Brewery, and they had their 4th anniversary.
Nice.
This
It just seems so much longer for Icarus, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well,
You've done a lot in 4 years.
Really, I mean, they're killing it, and it's awesome. And
Yeah.
well, what I wanted to share, and what we usually do here, Kenny and Gab, we usually have like a guest beer on the show. So, what I am drinking now in honor of Icarus's 4th anniversary is a beer. I believe this just came out in 2020, but this is actually my favorite beer of 2020. It's a Helles lager called Life in Helles.
Nice.
Helles lager is a German lager.
Yep.
Is what it is. It's called Life in Helles, and it is a beautiful, crisp, light, really a fantastic Helles lager beer. Made mostly, Pilsner malt, very heavy Pilsner malt. That's why it's got, the golden color, Hallertau hops, etc. Really, really a delicious beer. So, and you see it actually, if you buy it, that is, it comes with its own glass, etc.
That's nice.
Pilsner glass. So. Very, very nice beer. Anyone out there, if you haven't gotten a chance to try this, it's really a superb, superb lager.
So
Richard, did I ever give you this?
I don't think so. Are they canning that, or are you
Mhm.
only getting crowlers?
Yes, it's in cans now.
So how'd you get the glass? Did the glass come with the cans as you buy
No,
it?
I actually bought the glass last year when the beer
Okay.
first came out. And like I said, I think it came out at the beginning, but I got the glass last year when it first came out. Really, really very, very nice, crisp beer. So congratulations to everyone with their anniversary this month, but this particular beer is from Icarus. So, Richard, what are you drinking today? What's your guest beer?
I'm drinking. It's been sitting in my fridge for a while. I wanted to crack it out, and I realized I wasn't going to do any kind of sort of vertical, so I just pulled it out. It's a KBS Espresso.
Nice.
Ooh,
Nice. Yeah, if I'm going to drink one, it's 11%.
Yeah.
8:00 at night.
You get up early, you need to pick me up.
Right, need to pick me up with a nice 11% beer. Exactly. Yeah.
So you should
Actually
drink it
really
in the
good.
morning. That's a good idea, Gab. Drink it in the morning.
Right?
Kenny and Gab, what are you guys drinking there?
You guys, whatever
I
you're.
mean, you guys may have never heard of this one. It's not super popular or anything.
Oh,
Cane Head High.
Yeah, it just came out yesterday, so we
Yeah,
were the first ones to
brand new.
get it.
Also,
That's like a brand new beer, isn't it?
And then I'm
It's a
drinking.
classic.
I'm drinking Miller High Life.
Oh, there you go. The champagne of beers, Kenny.
No, actually, I had the fight, the Conor McGregor fight, at my house the other night, and a buddy of mine brought over a case of that because that's all he drinks, and I'm stuck with a lot of them, so they're gonna sit there
that's
for
all right.
quite a while.
I
Yeah, it's
think, I think
now
a lot
I'm drinking a Head High as well too.
I think
that's
a lot of
one of my favorites.
a lot of beer foodies out there would not say they were stuck if they had a bunch of Miller High Lifes.
No, it
I
is
know for
it is champagne.
some bourgeois beer drinkers, that's the go-to beer for them. So excellent. Now a few other things going on now. John does a show every month. That's our founder, editor, John Kashu. He does a show with Cape May Brewing every month, and last Thursday they unveiled a collaboration beer with Tonewood called Two Versions of Me. It's a West Coast IPA, which is my favorite type of IPA.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
And I'm looking forward to trying that. It's two of the best breweries in New Jersey actually collab. That's like the movie that's coming out, Godzilla versus Kong. You
Good heavy hitters,
combine
man. That's yeah.
two of the superstars.
Funny side story about that is I have a little inn over at Tonewood because one of the reps.
Oh, I thought you had I thought you meant the side story about Godzilla.
I do have a side story about Godzilla too, but we'll get into that later. That's a little dirty. We'll save that for after 10. No, one of the Ryan Egan is on my other podcast, Fear of a Craft Beer Planet, who works at Tonewood. So I called him today and I'm like, "Hey man, any chance of finding that collab beer up here somewhere?" He goes, "No, I don't think so."
Oh wow!
I'm like, "Really?" He goes,
Yeah.
I've looked at a couple of places. I think how it's working is it's coming from Cape May first, and they're going to brew it from Tonewood second. So I don't think Tonewood's brewed it yet. So it's just not up here anymore.
Is it definitely getting out to retail, or is it just a pickup at the breweries?
I wish I would have asked them that question. I did get though they're doing, I think, 3,400 cases total.
Yeah.
Okay. So they'll get it out then.
I don't know if it's out yet, but
hasn't made it to. I'm in Cherry Hill for a reference point, so it's not in Cherry Hill, Mount Laurel, Morristown.
Right.
I looked around for it. I didn't find it. And then I called him and he's like, "Yeah, I'm in these couple places and I haven't seen it anywhere around here." So he said, "If I see it, I'll call you." And he didn't. And he is crazy reliable. So if Ryan doesn't see it, Ryan definitely didn't see it. So it's either really hot or, just hasn't made it yet.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, those are two great breweries. I mean, gosh, Cape May's killing it. I mean, they're probably poised to go national eventually because they just set it up so right, from day one. So it's definitely an OG in the area for sure.
But is that that's always a funny question, especially nowadays. Is that still a goal for a brewery now that you're starting a brewery? I mean, obviously the local thing is so big, right? You can put a nice small footprint without having to think even going regional and do really well. But some breweries were sort of poised to always kind of head that way, right? I mean,
listen,
the Victories of the world or the whatever, we're at least go regional.
I mean, it all depends on, I guess, and I'm assuming everybody's in the same style of boat, whether you have your own money, whether you have investor money, whether your profitability rates rise month after month because your beer is that good. For instance, like an Icarus or a Cane, where it just, they know month after month what they're gonna be able to sell because it's sought after, right? Do we want to eventually? Well, first of all, we want to open, but then
step one.
Yeah, step one. But then after we open, we definitely want to get into other states. I mean, obviously, you want to branch and have other people drink your beer. But there's dynamics related to that with distribution and signing agreements, and you start to lose focus on where your beer is. I think, and I think that's why you get into this business is just because you want a handle on it, and you just want to hear the feedback from the drinkers, what we can and can't do better. I think once you go in that broad space, you kind of lose that, So and then with that comes more risk and reward, more tanks, more space, more trucking, more, you name it, consumables. So, I think everyone has a goal. Sure. We'd love to be the biggest thing in the world, but you know what, let's get open. Let's see where we're at. Let's see what hits and what doesn't hit. And we'll learn, I mean, that's the only way we have to approach it. We don't have the big bankroll like some of the other guys opened, we're opening up on a shoestring and that's okay with us, so we'll grind it for a few years and see where we're at.
I think that's better.
Now, speaking of new breweries, we're going to talk in detail to Gab and Kenny, but also there's a new brewery that's going to be opening in Cape May County. I don't know what the schedule is, but Bear Brewing, which actually is Stephen Wilson. He was on our show, on our podcast 2019. He's from the Cape May Brewers Guild.
Right.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And I know he talked about that being one of the things that was in the future for him. So, stay tuned. We're going to be doing something on them in the near future also, but it's called Bear Brewing, not bear as in a beer that will eat your lunchbox or anything like that. I mean, Bear, BEHR Brewing Company. And it's down in Cape May. It's right on that Seashore Road, not far from like Hawk Haven Winery.
Yeah, cool.
Which is one of my favorite wineries in New Jersey. They got some really great stuff there. So, stay tuned for that. So now let's get to Royal Bine. Kenny, now Richard, Kenny has an iconic nickname.
Hey, I did not come up with it. That's a fact. All right.
Tell us a little bit about where Kenny Kegs came from.
To be honest with you,
Richard heard that name before.
Yeah. People don't even know my last name anymore, which is pretty funny, and that's okay. Whatever. I at first I hated it. I'm like, really, that's so corny and stupid. But it just kind of stuck, and then it took as I made sales calls working for Ship Bottom Brewery. So as I went out and did all the sales off premise, you walk in and they say, "Hey, Kenny Kegs," it's pretty funny, this way. Hey, listen, they remember your name at least. That's half the battle, right? So it just grew from there. But I did get it while I was at. It could have been Rob Zarko, but I'm not sure because I was selling a lot of kegs at the time. We had really expanded our footprint. I was the sales manager on the island, which was really hard to do because on that island, a lot of people thought Ship Bottom Brewery was competition. Okay. And meanwhile, I had to upsell and say, guys, we don't want to compete with you. We want to collab with you. We want you, we kick people out by 9:45 and send them to your place to finish the night. So, and then once people started asking for it, it became a little bit easier for sale. But so I was selling a lot of kegs, so that became a joke, Kenny Kegs. And then obviously, Richard talking about COVID. Well, I've let my body go a little bit during this COVID experience. So it looks like I have a keg in my belly. So everyone says, "What's in that belly, Kegs?" I'm like, whatever. So anyway, so it became kind of a goofy name, and it just stuck. And you know what? We'll ride it as and it's pretty funny. I walk into rooms now, like, "Hey, Kegs." I'm like, "What's up?" And it's not even like the beer people. Now some of the family members are doing it and this and that. I'm like, oh my gosh, They
take a life of their own, don't they?
They really do, man. They really do. And it's so funny because we for last year, right, we're having Zoom meetings with our team. And I always, as a joke, I'm like, guys, listen, we need business cards, but it's a joke because that's the last thing we need, right? So sure enough, Gab for Christmas gets me Kenny Keg business cards. And gives
That's awesome.
It's so funny, So I'm just like riding around, just giving them to people like, what is this? I said, I don't know. It's a goofy card, just have fun with it. Pick your teeth with it. I don't care. But so anyway, so it's good stuff. That's where it came from, Vic.
Okay. Now you see, Richard has a million names, correct, Richard?
I do.
At one point on the show, I introduced him as Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
That's
He
awesome.
had a name, Richard the Mandalorian. A number of different names that I have for Richard. My name doesn't go with anything iconic like that.
You'll walk into a nickname. Richard isn't even. Richard is a nickname. That's not even my name. Richard is the nickname of a nickname.
Yeah.
So I was Rick.
That's not actually your name.
What's your birth name?
Right. James.
Wow.
So I was
middle name. I'm Richard. My middle name's Richard.
Oh, that's funny. No, I was Ricky anything. Like you'd be Ricky Retardo, Ricky. I had all these different Ricky the rock star, Ricky the anything, right? And it was me, and at the time it's my ex. She was my girlfriend at the time, and we were at my apartment, and I was probably doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, and she shocking. Shocking, screamed my name across the room, Richard, and the whole party just stopped and kind of like, did she just scream the full name of your nickname? That's crazy. Then that's how I became Richard. So
hence it was born. That's it.
Hence Richard, and could not use that one. So now I'm Richard.
Now, so that's Kenny's. And actually, I the first time I actually met Kenny in person a couple of years ago at the Arlington.
Yep.
I was sitting at the bar because I was waiting to do an interview with Paul.
Oh, I was there.
We got to talking, and Gab, you came, and then I said, oh, and she said, that's my dad.
That's my dad. Yeah. I think we had never met. Yeah, exactly.
I know Gab from AC Beer Fest.
Yep.
From the judging side, because she organized the whole shebang for the judging and everything, and did absolutely amazing job with it.
Thank you.
Actually, we could have probably used you when we did our beer competition. I should have given you a call and enlisted you to help us with
anytime
with all the details and everything like.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. I mean, all the beers that come in, how you have to separate them, get them out, and it's pretty amazing.
It's definitely a learn as you go process. Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. I went there on a Sunday morning and did it with the 200 or something bottles. We had labeling them all and logging them in and everything like that. And you see, that would be great for you because John came in and he said, "What can I do?" I said, "Nothing. Get away." Stop filling out the sheets.
Stay away. Yeah, exactly.
I'm learning how to not be like that as the beer fests continue.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm too old to not be like that. So
somebody's cranky.
Vic, the Arlington's a cool place, right?
Oh, it's an awesome place. I miss
It is.
We used to go there, pre-pandemic, we would go there probably at least 2 Fridays out of the month. We would go there, have our seat at the bar. And my wife loves it there because she says they have the best Cosmos on earth.
Right.
Yeah, the best Cosmos on earth.
Yeah, they make a great Manhattan too.
Yeah.
They barrel aged Buffalo Trace and just the cherries are perfect. It's awesome. Yeah, it's a great place.
Nice.
Actually, that's how I got the job at Ship Bottom. Because I was basically loitering at the Arlington almost every day.
Okay.
Because my wife and I and the kids, we were moving down to LBI and we were doing some work on the house before we did that. But my daughter, we got her a job as a beach badge checker. So I drove down from Monroe Township, New Jersey, every day to LBI 5 days a week just to get her to the beach badge job. And I'd have to sit there she had to be at work at 8 and then she'd sit there, she'd work till 4:30 and then we'd head back to Monroe and I'd do it. But what do I do every day? I just go to bars. And that's how I met all the bartenders on LBI. I had 8 hours to kill every day for months, So sitting at the Arlington one day, the gentleman who was the bartender said, "Hey, listen, this is my last day." And I said, "Oh man, I'm going to miss you." And I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, I'm going to go GM a brewery down in Beach Haven. I'm like, wow. I said, "Dude, if you need help with anything, let me know." He goes, "Well, I'm looking for bartenders." I'm like, "Well," I said, "I'd love to do it. I'm sure you're looking for younger, He goes, "No, man." He goes, "Come on down and let's see if I can get you in." And sure enough, that was it. Lo and behold, a month later, I'm painting walls, getting, hanging things on the wall to get ready for grand opening for Rob and the brand. And it worked out great.
Nice. Very nice. And we got to get out there this summer and do podcasts, Richard.
Oh, Arlington again?
Everything is all cleared and we're all vaccinated because they did reopen the tap room.
Nice.
They only had the beer garden going for a while. And they did. They reopened the tap room. Well, it's getting kind of cold outside now.
Yeah.
To have a beer garden there. And, I know the one day they had everything torn up because the winds, I don't have to tell you, the winds blast through there, something awful.
Yeah.
And can tear a tent apart.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Royal Bine. Where did the idea come from? When did you both, because I know this is basically a father-daughter collaboration on this, correct?
Yeah.
Now, whose idea was it first, Kenny? Yours, Gab's?
I'm sorry, Vic, what'd you say?
Whose idea was it first?
Well, it was, I came home from work one day at Ship Bottom and, I was trying to get myself more involved in their ownership and I don't think that was going to happen. So I just came home and I just said, you know what, I can do this somehow, some way, because after selling a lot of products over 25, 30 years in sales, this was the only product I enjoyed selling. And, I've been in the HVAC business. I've been in the pipe, valve and fitting business and sheet metal and all that. And I've always done well, but I never liked it. I just woke up and did it because I had to, right? This one I actually enjoyed and just loved the whole vibe of it. So I came home and, I told my wife I want to open a brewery and start the process. And she almost divorced me. And that was a rough one to hear at the age of, 49 at the time, because I'm 53 now. So I'm just like, this is going to be pretty funny to see how this pans out. But so that was, and then at that point I had to start putting the pieces together and see the viability of this, And so that's where my thought process came to open Royal Bine. We didn't have a name yet. We didn't have any of that. It was just, I want to open a brewery. I want to sell beer. And it doesn't have to be on Long Beach Island. It doesn't have to be, wherever. We'll find that. I just need to get in this business somehow, some way for myself so I can understand where we go,
So that was 4 years ago now. What was your first step in the process then?
Well, in late 2018 is when I LLC'd the company, right? That's when we had to, first of all, pick a name. And then second of all, the first name we wanted to pick was Kith and Kin Brewing Company. In Gaelic, that means family and friends. So I loved it and just went on a search to make sure no one else had it. I'm saying to myself, who the hell would have this? Well, some dude down in Texas had it. Really? And I'm, oh man. So I reached out to him on Facebook. I'm like, but he didn't have a brewery. It was just backyard stuff. And it was but he was a brewery in planning and he was so nice. He's like, you can have it too. And I said, no, dude. I said, Yeah, that becomes a problem in case one of us make it. Now we have infringement issues and it just doesn't, website weirdness and all that kind of stuff. So we had to pivot and think of a new name. And Bine just came up. That's what hops grow on. And we listen, we want a talking point, and we want to buy the best ingredients. We want to be not so much royal like as in the English royal, but we want to echelon up and buy good things, serve it in the right glass, do things royal. Go big of sorts. So that's where we came out with Royal Bine.
We were hop picking.
Yeah.
We were with a crew from Ship Bottom, and that's just when we learned what vine meant, because all day you go on picking all these hops off of vines, we thought. And we were in Colts Neck. There's a really great farm there. Two brothers run it, the Fur Farm, FIR Farm.
Yep.
And they grow tons of different hops. And New Jersey's not necessarily the most optimal climate for doing that, but they do a great job.
Yeah. Good guys.
And then they work with a lot of breweries. We actually that day met guys from Red Tank in Red Bank. I think a couple other brewers were there, but it was just cool to learn Bine, not Vine. So people are constantly, when we say Royal Bine, they're like, Royal what? Vine? What? Royal Bin? How do you say that?
Yeah. So
it's also a little like
good talking
snippet
point.
of education, a talking point.
I just learned something.
Exactly. It's so weird, right?
It's working.
And when we go in our tap room, we're going to have, it's funny, if you look it up in on Google, the word Bine, and it comes up like a dictionary style, of what a definition, that's going to be on one of our walls. We're just going to, it's going to be really neat. So people know exactly what Bine is. So we don't mind answering the question 100 times, but that's what beer is, right? Somewhat educational, or it should be. And that's why the tour is so important and all that kind of stuff.
You're going to be ridiculously close to both my works, if I'm not mistaken. You're going to be
lucky you.
Absecon. Right? Yeah. So we're on New Jersey Avenue. Okay. Right. I've had the space. We've had the space since January of 2020. So I entered into a 5-year lease, and sure enough, COVID hits 2 months later. So I've been paying rent on this place since January. Utilities to go along with it, you name it. Listen, we all have the sob story. COVID put a hurting on everybody. Yeah. But you know what? We're working through it. We're trying to get the financing properly in place now without investors, because I did have investors, and again, COVID came, and that was a major curveball, and I can't blame them. So we had to pivot again, and you really analyze what we're doing here, and it was some scary times for a few months, meaning, are we doing this? Are we not doing this? Or is now not the time, that kind of thing. And all those thoughts come in your head, and you start to doubt a tad, but then we have a gentleman in our business, John, he's our director of operations, and he's funny because he would email me or text me and be like, get off the couch and get going, make these 3 phone calls today. Honestly, because I needed that,
Right.
And it was a good thing because, you start to get in those lulls, and you say to yourself, man.
Well, with this pandemic, it's hard not to get down in the dumps, at least for a portion
Absolutely.
of
Yeah.
the time.
Yep.
With
Absolutely.
with everything going on. Now, where's New Jersey Avenue? Is that Route 9?
So I mean,
It runs parallel with White Horse Pike.
Okay.
Right.
If you're familiar with that area, there is on a street corner, it's Black Cat Bar and Pub,
Yes,
as
absolutely.
well
Yeah.
as High Point. They're
Right.
both a couple steps away.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Wait,
we are right behind Black Cat.
Yeah.
Right behind
And-
Black Cat?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right behind.
That's funny. I work for a place called Pleasantville Music, and the
Oh,
owner
yeah.
there is the cousin of Black Cat.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you've
it's
probably
their
been past the Black Cat Tavern there.
I go past where you are all the time. It's
All the time,
now
yeah.
know exactly where you're at. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
There, like Gab said, it runs parallel with the White Horse Pike, and it's
Right.
just like, the funny thing is the first building we looked at was also on New Jersey Avenue, and that one didn't pan out. We had some logistical issues. We couldn't figure out how we were going to, get the space right, divided by the landlord. The landlord didn't seem 100% willing to offload it at the time we wanted. It was just a lot of, and we wasted. I had an engineer, had an architect drawing stuff up, and it just never came to fruition. We just said, listen, we got to move. We got to move on something else. And my architect, who's an Absecon guy, been there for a long time. He knows the game. And he just said, Kenny, he goes, I have another building for you. He goes, if you want to do that. I said, I have to do something. I said, this isn't working out. And so he brought us to this old hardware store that was a yoga studio at the time, 2 apartments upstairs and a yoga studio. And in the back of the building, it was a contractor's HVAC, a roofing guy was keeping his stuff there.
Mhm.
Three garage bay doors. It's almost 5,000 square feet. So it's a really nice sized place, and it's a freestanding building. So the vibe, right when we walked in the front door, we're like, oh my gosh, this is it.
Mhm.
We got it. No, it needs a lot of work, but we got to make this happen, because this is, like looking in your basement, Vic. It's just, that's a vibe for drinking. We just said this is going to be awesome what we can do with it. The floors, and obviously, building the bar and an area for barrel aging stuff, an area for the brew house, all that. So we went through a myriad of contractors. Again, COVID. Waiting months on quotes, and then getting the proverbial text, "Hey guys, yeah, we're gonna have to bail on this." And I'm like, really? Come on, man. We just wasted 2 months. I could have been doing something else, So again, everyone has the story. So so we wound up in this building, and found a contractor just recently, and he did a lot of work at Ducktown in AC.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So he knows Johnny X and that whole
Johnny
crew
X,
there.
a great guy. Yep.
Great guy. So we and that was a good talking point that we had, because I feel comfortable with that, And so he's been really good. He's now working with AC Electric on the mechanicals and all that kind of stuff, what we got to bring into the building for 3-phase and some amperage that we need for all the brew stuff. So yeah, we're honestly, we're ready to roll. We're just waiting on the financing, and that should be hopefully within the next 30 days, 45 max, we're hoping. And then we could start cutting POs and just, construction could start. And what's the timeline? We don't know. I gave up on timelines now. I really did.
Right.
I mean, earning money at this point through the brewery is just going to be a crapshoot no matter what. So let's just get open the right way and do it the right way, and not try to hit, we want to be open for AC Beer Fest. For us, it's not going to happen, So that's kind of the way we're going with this.
Yeah. And, Kenny mentions AC Beer Fest. And if those of you haven't heard it out there, it's going to be outside this year at Bader Field, the 4th and the 5th of June. So have nice weather, hopefully a lot of what we have going on now settles down a little bit, and we can do that. Now, Gab, at what point in the process did you become involved with this?
I was also working with Ship On Brewery, and I loved it. My favorite job ever. I just loved working with beer. I loved being soaked in beer every day. I was working as a bartender, and also I had just started getting my foot in the door with like some cellarman work. So I learned how to clean kegs and do some transfers, and I was just getting started with that. But it was mostly my time at Stockton. I was a hospitality and tourism major, and with that, I was exposed to so much about the craft beer and beverage industry as a whole. Stockton's HTMS program has really swayed towards craft beverage tourism. I worked a lot with Donna Albano.
I love that.
I just had expressed my interest in this is what I might want to do. And I work for a brewery now, and I love it. And she had me host a panel that actually my dad sat on. A couple other big guys in the industry. We had Rob Callahan from Tuckahoe. We had Brian Brill come from Cape May. And that was just a great night. And that was great networking, my first chance at that. And I was hooked right away. So when he said, I want to do this, I said, me too.
Okay.
Let's do father-daughter. Let's do it. I mean, we'll put together a team, because the two of us aren't going to be able to do a lot of it. First of all, if I make beer, no one's drinking.
I know people always ask, do you guys make the beer? And it's
No.
nope, no.
Do you have any involvement in brewing? You've never brewed before?
I've helped out in the brew house when Jake Stabline was the head brewer over at Chip Bottom. But can I say I actually made a beer and put my name on it? Absolutely not. So my strength is sales and marketing. I'm a grinder, and that's what I'll do with this company as well. We'll just the beer will get out there. There's no doubt about it. But I let a professional do that. So we hired a brewer, and he's been with us now since the beginning. So he's hung in there through. He's had other options. He's been approached. And he always gives me the benefit of that. Says, Kenny, what do you think? And I'm saying, his name is Will Mink. I said, Will, hang in there, man. That's all I can tell you. I said, if you got to go, you got to go, you know, and that's not what he wants. He knows that this is a wonderful opportunity for him. He worked at Iron Hill Brewing in Phoenixville, PA. He was he was the head brewer there for a few years. And
that's good training.
Yeah, exactly. And
he's got that corporate, like very, he's a numbers guy. He's very. Yeah.
And he'll watch this, but when I approached him about the job and what we could pay, I said, can you just give me an idea? And he sent me this, what he made at Iron Hill and the breakdown of how they pay him. And I looked, I said, dude, I ain't doing this shit. I said, here's the deal. This is what I'm going to pay you. This is how it's going to work. I said, and then we're going to work it out from there, because we're not corporate, we're Jersey small, and we're going to grow into this thing, and that's how we're going to get paid down the road, So don't think of it that way right now, because that's not why we're getting in this, So we do have a brewer, which is great.
There's actually a funny story about our brewer, how we really met him. Through a mutual friend. Actually, was it Mike from NJ?
Yeah, I think it was.
Mike Kivitz, NJCB, introduced Kenny Kegs and Will, and we come to find out he's like, oh yeah, I live on LBI, and at the time we were living on LBI. We're like, oh no way, like which part? And he says he's in Brad Beach, and we're like, well, that's where we're from. And he's like, yeah, I'm on 58th Street. We were on 58th Street, so his dad lived 3 houses down from us.
I'm on the phone. I'm like, bro, walk out of your house, and I'll walk out of mine. And we both did, and we're on the street waving to each other. I'm like, how you doing, Will Mink? I'm Kenny Ward.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, honestly, that's bizarre, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, he's been great through this whole process as we hit snags and delays and curveballs and all the like. But he is so excited now. He's taken ownership in the buying of the equipment that we pretty much have nailed down the brew house that we want to bring in. So he's taken ownership in that. And because I asked him, I said, Will, get involved here. Like, this is your baby. I said, I want you to have the best brew house possible for you in the space we have. I don't want you mad. I don't want you going home because you had to lug this. I want you to make it the way you want to make it, because you ain't leaving, you're not leaving because turnover is not good. Right. So we have to figure this out and do it right. So he's been great. And he's got some excitement in him, which is good. He's a 30-year-old kid. He's awesome. He's going to be great.
That's great. That's great. Now, do you have the equipment yet, or?
No. We haven't even purchased it, Vic.
Okay.
We've been holding off, because why purchase something when I'm still working on the financing? I'm still working on, I consider it phase 2, meaning I'm already down. We're not even open yet, and I'm on phase 2 on how Royal Bine's going to be built. So we've been through 3 manufacturers and just trying to figure out the challenges of bringing that equipment into this building, because as I mentioned, it's an old hardware store.
Okay.
So our ceilings are 8'9" max, not conducive to big equipment, right?
Right.
So we just have to go at short stubbies and lots of them. That's all. So we're going to do a lot more transferring than the normal brewery. But again, as long as Will's happy and he can, be okay with that, it's going to be cool. But it's going to be a great vibe. Like I said, it's a low ceiling place, and it's so the challenge was to get a manufacturer who could come in and really work with us on the installation engineering of it, because it's not going to be an easy one to get in there and hook up.
Well, Rob and Chip Bottom be a good source for you to talk to about engineering issues.
Exactly.
Because they got a brewery on the 2nd floor.
I was there when they had to cut the opening to get up the fermenters on the 2nd floor. Yeah, they cut cinder block open, and then the pipes are hitting the ceiling, and the chillers on the roof, and it was just a nightmare, But they made it work, right? They made it work.
Yeah.
Well, even you got those type of stories all over, like even Battle River, where Ian is
I was
the head
just
brewer.
going to say Battle River. Yeah, Ian was telling us.
They had to go through. They had to basically close down Main Street for him to get the fermenters into the building there. You guys know Ian real well.
We were there last week. Myself, Gavin, Will. Ian was kind enough to invite us on a Monday when they were closed, because the system we're looking at is the same manufacturer.
Okay. Good.
And he's like, get over here. Let me show you the good, the bad, the questions you need to ask, blah, blah, blah. He was great. We were there a couple hours. We met Gary, the owner, had a bunch of beers. Just Ian is killing it. Everything was wonderful. The challenges that they putting their fermenters in the basement and how they get their grain down there was just, I said to them, I said, dude, we're not going to be this crazy, but it was wild.
They also have the 2 floor because their brew house is on the first floor, the main level, and then down below is where all their fermenters are, their cold box.
Yeah.
He tell you the story about lowering those fermenters through the hole in the floor?
Yeah, crazy.
I was there the day he was doing that, and I said, "I'm let you do it. I'm not helping you." I was there when he was doing it. He had a hand cranked crane with a strap, and he was lowering each of those fermenters down into the basement.
Nuts, absolutely nuts.
Yeah. But it looks great. The space is beautiful. Both floors.
Oh yeah, the space is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, it's funny because we're sitting there at the bar and just he's pouring beers and we're sampling, and a grain delivery came, a pallet of 50-pound bags of grain came, and we had to open up the front doors, pallet it in, and just left it in the bar area. And I'm like, Ian, let's, with the 3 of us,
you have to carry them downstairs one by one.
I said, come on, let's bust out this pallet. We're here. He's like, no, we got young kids for this. I'm like, man, this is a lot of work. Because I'm like, come on, man, we'll bust this out in 20 minutes. We'll have this done. And he's like, nope, because I learned one thing. I ain't doing that, So, but he's been awesome. And he's due to come down the next week or two just to basically give his advice on, are we doing the right thing with the equipment we plan to order? So that's why we haven't ordered it yet. It just hasn't been the right time. And to be honest with you, we had somebody else already picked out, and we're kind of on the fence with them still. But we got to, the building has its challenges, but once we're in, it'll be fantastic.
Yeah. That's
I don't think having a special vibe. We've named 3 places, by the way, that I think actually have that special vibe when you walk in.
Right.
I thought Ship Bottom has a really cool, interesting vibe when I went there. Just a very neat place, and you kind of feel it when you walk in. Tonewood has an amazing vibe when you walk in there. It just has this something about the space, and when you go in there, and then Battle Rover Avi has that. There's something cool about the space. Yeah. And there's plenty of other breweries that make great beer. So it's nothing against you walk in, you still can drink great beer. And I like everything. 8 and Sand, I think, has a really good vibe too. And I've ever been 8 and Sand. They have a really good vibe in there. But there's plenty of other breweries I've been to that are nice places, and their beers could be really incredible. But once in a while, you grab a brewery where you just walk in, there's something about the space,
right?
Above the beer. You can make great beer.
Is like deceivingly long too, so it looks tiny. It's very deceiving on the outside. It's a kind of a classic storefront where you can see right in. You have huge windows on either side, and wide open front door. But it goes on and on. Like, it's almost 5,000 square feet, and the tap room is. We're gonna do some really cool things with it.
Knowing the spot you're going in, I think it's gonna be very cool.
It's good now. And just like Battle River has done, and the distillery, Garden State Distillery, right next door, and Capone's, the restaurant, they shut down, that street in Tom's River on the weekends in the summer. They shut it down, and they put out the tables, and they have a band, or they have the TVs on the side of the. What an awesome idea, right? I mean, that's a town just rallying around what they're trying to do, and you know what? That's why we're going to Absecon, Richard, because they've been really open to us coming. Absecon is an awesome town, awesome people. Downtown, where our building is, definitely needs a little bit of a refacing. I mean, revitalization is key. We understand that they're asking for us to be that anchor store, if you would, to really change some culture. Maybe we can shut down a street on a weekend, do a couple festivals of our own in some weird way. New Jersey Transit just opened a hub across the street that stops from AC to Philly. So that was a big deal. So we can maybe get some of that foot traffic, because it is a walkable road. And that's a cool part. We're going to put out bike racks, because, a lot of people have said, oh my gosh, I could bike here. I'm like, great, I'll get bike racks. We're done. And I'll put your names on it if you're going to come here that often,
So that's those car shows too. I can't think that's not going to help.
Absolutely. They do a lot. Yeah. And it's cool because we're in between the National Bank of Absecon and the National Historical Society of Absecon, which are 2 iconic buildings down there, brick buildings. So here we are, this little thin, old hardware store. That it's perfect. It's perfect. Now we just need to get in it and get beer poured.
Now, as far as your equipment, now, do you know what equipment you need? Like, do you know what size you're going to be at?
Yeah, I mean, we're going with a 7-barrel system.
Okay.
That's we at first we were looking at 4.2,
Okay.
and I just don't think that's going to be enough. Or Will's going to be very busy. Our footprint of where we want to sell the beer post COVID, right? I mean, let's just assume post COVID, because we're not going to try to figure this thing out right now. But we want to go, LBI, because I already know I can bank on 10, 15 bars in LBI or thereabout that'll take our beer down to Atlantic City. Honestly, I'm not even going to go even further south because there's,
Or west.
Or west. I mean, our goal, we'll do Galloway, we'll do Egg Harbor, we'll do obviously Brigantine, and we'll do Atlantic City. But we're our focus is to keep enough beer in our tap room, right? I mean, that's we don't want to be running out of beer there, and really just pick and choose our select accounts that we know, and we can always count on a tap handle, and they can always count on not being out of beer from us on that tap handle, and just try to grow it like that, So a 7-barrel should give us, plenty for that. We've budgeted in a canning line. We're considering that, we might take some of that budgetary number out and just do more on the marketing end and more on the tap room, and just go with a mobile canner to start, which might be the smarter thing to do instead of opening up and then trying to figure out a canning line and then trying to figure out logistics and getting stuff open. So we're going to play with that for the next month or two. But the 7-barrel system seems to be what we're going with. So basically, it's a 7-barrel brew house with probably 5 fermenters, 2 brights, and we'll be good to go there.
Okay, nice. And Richard, when the owners are trying to figure out, and the head brewer, what kind of equipment, that there's like so many more different choices now than there maybe were in the past. You'd have a fermenter, bright tank like that. Like, for instance, mechanical brewing, which is not far from you, Richard.
Right.
But he decided to go with there. He's got SS Brewtech. He's got unit tanks.
Right.
He's got unit
that
tanks.
Seems to be, everyone seems to be leaning towards that, The unit tanks are really, and that's what ours are going to be as well. So it's I think mechanically things are growing in a different direction now too. More choices, which is great for brewing. The OGs are still operating on some old school stuff, but you know what? They make it work and they're busting it out. And then when they go bigger production, like a Bolero or something like that, you look at it, you're like, wow, I mean, we were up there for their industry night, and it was just like fantastic. It was like Toyland. We're walking around saying, man, this is sick, So it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
You find that you run out of space. Like Icarus, at their anniversary, I had pictures from before they were open, and there's like a couple of, like, I guess, 30-barrel fermenters in the corner there. And now if you go into the back brew house area at Icarus, it's stainless steel wall to wall. There's no room for anything back there.
That's it. And he's going to grow. Jason's going to grow so fast that he's going to take other units in that building, or go buy another building of his own.
And he also got his own canning line now too.
Yeah.
He got his own, because he was having Ironheart come in there like once a week or so. And so he decided to get his own canning line, which is what Rob has had that for a little while in Ship Bottom too.
Oh gosh, we learned on that canning line. It was a wild goose canning line, and we took some beatings getting beer made first couple of times. A lot of low fills that you took home with you, but it was a lot of fun. And then once the brewer understands the equipment, then you start busting out 60, 80, 100 cases. There's nothing like it, Palletize it, get it out within a day or two to the stores, and you're good to go.
Yeah, and Frank does a good job there now too.
Yeah, Frank. Yeah, Frank's awesome. He's and you know what, they won the Pilsner, the Czech Pilsner 2 years ago at the AC Beer Fest, and I was happy to see that, because that was his baby, and I said, good for you, Frank. You deserve this, man. After being in Jake's shadow for a while,
I wish I remembered.
That's because they had, the judging was well organized.
Thanks, Vic.
Very well organized.
It was a fix. Just let you know.
Well, I told, I guess Rob won that, and I judged the Pilsners, and Manafirkin got a medal for Wake the Fuck Up.
Wake the Fuck Up.
I told
Great
both of
stout.
them, I told Rob and I told Don and Todd, I said, since I judged both of your beers, then I should never have to pay for beers again. locations.
I could
funny-
vouch for that. I
Yeah.
think you're right.
Funny side story about Manafirkin. Nothing, not bad, but we lost a weather. I work for a radio station. That's where I worked then. I work for a company called Longport Media, which is like Cool 98.3 and WOND and WMGM. Those
Oh,
stations.
yeah.
So
awesome.
we lost our weather guy, a guy named Dan Skelton, who's been there for years, and he recommended a couple people. And they usually get their own sponsors to weather people, along with it. And we have one, Alexa Trishler, and she also works for the AC Press, and she got Manafirkin as a brewery. So now she does their Firkin forecast.
that's
I've
all.
never heard
Oh.
more 80-year-olds complain about this in your entire life. Like, it's such a funny, cute little thing.
Yeah.
But they're all sure she's saying their fucking forecast every time. Probably because it's AM radio and they're half deaf. Yeah. So they I mean, we get more calls about that. Like, what did she just say? And I'm like, no. It's a beer company. I have to explain it 90 times.
Yeah.
That's so
People don't know what a firkin is, so that's
Right, I
that's
have no idea, right?
It's almost like a bind, right? It's almost like a bind. No one knows what the hell it is.
Right, no one knows what bind is, right? Same problem, yeah. I get that complaint constantly. I'm like, no, she's not swearing.
PR though. So
Yeah, PR is good,
it
right?
works.
Now we were there about a month ago in their igloos
Okay, yeah.
Oh, how are they?
in the back. It's very cool, very cool.
It
was
definitely works in the,
yeah,
it was like at a cold temperature. It was nice, and
it was a chilly night. I mean, because they have the mobile heaters too. But we just it was actually they were almost closing. And Todd and Don, great guys. I mean, Todd so I was there and asking Todd a lot of questions. He's been helpful as well with the ownership. How do you open? What do you do? Blah blah blah. And Ian came down from Battle River, so the four of us just got in a igloo and just started drinking all kinds of beers. That was a rough one, man.
Ian didn't bring any bourbon?
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Oh, lucky.
You know what the funny part about Ian is? So the first time I met Ian, another ship bottom reference, but I'm bartending and he walks in and he walks in with, a couple of growlers of his own beer, his home brew, right? He's obviously started off like you, Vic, a good home brewer making great beer. And he comes up and he drops it on the bar and he opens it and he's pouring it. I said, dude, you can't do this, man. And he's a big dude. And he's like, what do you mean, man? He goes, try it. It's awesome beer. I'm like, no, that's great. That's awesome beer, but we can lose our license. Like, you cannot do this, So I said, here's your deal. Go in the back with Jake and you guys do what you got to do, but you cannot open that physically in front of other customers. And he couldn't comprehend that. He just was so excited to have you taste his beer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was off the charts good as a home brewer. And that just tells you, once you get a system, the bar is high. You can go wherever you want with this, And so that's where we met. And he's like, yeah, man. He goes, you yelled at me. I'm like, no, I didn't. I said, I did. I just didn't want to lose Rob's license. All right. So let's be fair about this whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's my story. Yeah.
Ian's great. I've learned a lot from him on the brewing side too.
So, yeah.
He's an awesome guy.
Yep.
Awesome
For
guy.
sure.
So now you get the stuff there.
Yeah.
You're ready to go. The two owners here. Who's in charge of what?
All right. So we have a team. Gab can fill you in on our team. It's good. You
Sure. I mean, it's a small team, definitely. So between the two of us, well, obviously neither of us brew. So Will is going to be brew house everything. I can help him in the brew house again with like your cellarman kind of work like that, like you're cleaning kegs, some transferring and stuff. And I want to learn with him for sure. And I want, to help him in any way, shape, form he needs. I think we all will step into that role. I'm going to be mainly focused on the tap room. That'll be my baby, running the tap room and probably being there every day, doing all of those things, social media, tap room, events. Hopefully we'll be able to do events more with, the dying down of COVID in the tap room, as well as booking events outside of the tap room. I'll deal with AC Beer Fest and all of the other beer festivals that go on throughout New Jersey. And then
I'm just sales and marketing. That's all. And I'll do some taproom stuff as well, help out behind the bar and do whatever and just be there and try to make people feel comfortable and have some fun. But, at the end of the day, it's about selling beer. We have to get beer out to places. So that's my focus. Again, we have a gentleman, John Hoyos. John works. John Hoyos. Yes. John's part of our team. John is he's basically going to be our director of operations. He has a company.
Numbers guy.
John
the paperwork.
Yeah, he's been doing all the applications. He'll be doing the cola stuff for the labels. He'll be doing the ordering of what we need for when we do can, if we do can, and the keg leasing program and buys and all that. Again, I concentrate on sales. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm bad at. So John's going to take care of all that stuff and has been doing that, especially for our loan process as well. So I trust John 100%, and to bring him on board was great. Will, like I said, is our brewer, and then Molly Fallon is our. She's created all our logos, and yeah, like she's done
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool
she
hat. Like it.
yeah, I'll get you one, Vic, and not you, Richard. But sorry, now I'm getting sarcastic, right? So anyway, so we're thank you very much.
Keep drinking. It only gets better.
Yeah, dude. I got like 4 more left. So we're it's gonna be she and Molly's killing it. And again, we're not at that point to pull the trigger on an apparel order, but we are, but we got to get in this space. So that's our team. It's a 5-person team. Obviously we'll add parts as we come. So we have so much help. People are doing stuff for nothing, and that's awesome. And everyone gets it. Again, this isn't a get rich thing. I mean, it's just not. And
right.
if you're getting in this business to do that, man, shame on you, because it's just I think you're going to lose your way pretty quickly, and word gets out that you're doing it for the wrong reason. Again, I'm 53, going to be 54 soon, and how much time do I got left to grind this stone here as a sales guy? No one wants a 60-year-old sales guy walking around into these cool bars trying to sell a sixtel, right? So I know
thanks, Kenny. I guess my next career is gone, huh?
No, Vic, send me your resume. We'll look at it. No, but so we have to hit it pretty hard for the first couple of years just to see where we stand in the South Jersey market, and just be cognizant to our neighbors too, man. I mean, listen, Garden State, we stopped at Garden State Brewing the other day on the way home because we had to go down and meet a contractor and go over some things, and the beers were awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Another good brewery. Yeah.
I mean, awesome. I don't want to say it was a surprise. I'm surprised I haven't stopped in more, honestly. We'll stop at a bar instead, and we'll go to Tailgaters or something like that, and then drink craft beer there. But and he's open awesome like 12 o'clock, and we're like, oh, nice. They're open. Let's go in. And Adam, we briefly met, but obviously Rob at Tuckahoe, we want to do some things with Rob. Mm-hmm. We want to do stuff with Hidden Sands. We want to do stuff with the Seed, or with Little Water with Mark and Guy. I mean, we'll see. When we open our doors and we get our footing, I think then we can reach out to all our neighbors and say, guys, what can we do to share these services, right, and promote each other and get it right, Mm-hmm. So that's our game plan.
Now, do you have like in your mind an idea of, I know it's still premature, an idea of your tap list? What's that going to look like in your mind?
You know what? That's
Gav is all excited about that one. What's the tap list going to look like?
That's like the bread and butter.
That is.
I mean, you have to do a little bit of everything, of course. Will, though, he has been classically trained mostly in German style lagers and pilsners. He was out in Germany for several months getting certain certifications. He is a lager pilsner guy.
We're going that route.
So we're going to
German styles.
And we're going to do, we are Royal Bine. So Bine refers to hops and a lot of like fresh hops and whole cone hops and things like that. So we're going to do your hoppy pilsners. We're going to do some different flavored lagers and things like that. Probably try and stay away more so from like those super lactosey beers. I mean, everyone does love a good hazy IPA every now and again, but everyone's doing them too. So we just want to stick with that lager pilsner route as much as we can. But we will do a little bit of everything. Absolutely, you have to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an IPA guy and have been for years. And when Will, hey, listen, I looked at Will and said, what's your strength? And he says, I'm a pilsner lager guy. I said, okay. I said, I'm not. I said, but John, what's up, dude?
Hey.
Now we have a special guest.
What a guest.
Us.
What's up, dude?
Mr. John Kashu,
What's up, guys?
South Jersey beer scene. What's up, boss?
Hey, what's up, Kenny? What's up, Gabby?
What's up, John?
Yeah, I totally spaced on this. I got home late from work tonight, and I really wanted to jump on. So
it's all good.
I'm wearing my nice 3,000-year-old Dogfish shirt.
Right.
I'm looking great.
We're just talking about Royal Bine, John. We're talking about Gabby's giving us a little breakdown of what the tap list might look like.
Yeah, I guess I missed it. What's the ETA?
Again, we're not sticking to any particular date, John, because things are so,
Yeah, I know.
they're so fluid right now, and things change. We're looking hopefully 6 to 8 months to open. Yeah, I mean, listen,
By Labor Day would be.
you know, our goal is June, but it's not going to happen. Or if it does happen, maybe we're in the ABC process of finalizing getting our license, and then after that's going to take 6 to 8 months to 6 to 8 weeks to get beers made and put in the tanks and ready. And we'll have a couple soft openings, friends and family and industry guys and all that kind of stuff. But there's no rush at this point. We
You're literally right down the street from my office. I drive by.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a cool spot.
I have a Gabby story.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Hey, Gab, here you go.
Shoot.
That girl, let me tell you what, she is one hard worker.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
So last year,
You're going to be working real hard, John.
Phew.
last year at the seafood, I'm going to tell you, at the festival over there in Ventnor, we had the beer tent. Vic, you couldn't go. You had some other social event that you did. And yeah, and me and Tom are leaving.
I'm a very busy man.
People need beer, and here's Gabby lugging kegs, halves off the truck out to load people up. And there was and this is not a guy-girl thing, but there's all kinds of people standing around, and Gabby's running back and forth.
Yeah, watching
those things up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. Me and Tom watched her do it too.
Yeah.
You guys
John,
were,
I was
you
talking
were
about.
constantly trying to help me out, but
Thanks
that
for your
was,
help, John.
that was one thing we forgot. Dealing with AC Beer Fest, there's a crew. There's a set crew of 10 to 20 guys, depending on the year and the time of day, who lug the kegs around, and they have the text program. When you run out of a keg or you're getting low, text us, we'll bring it right out to you. We forgot about that at Seafood Fest. It was kind of breweries will just figure it out. And then day of, I'm no, that can't happen. So I just stepped into that role just out of the blue, and John was like, oh man, thank you so much and everything. And I was like, this is a good workout for me too. And I definitely met and talked to every single person there under the beer tent. It was all New Jersey breweries too. So it was a win-win. It was good networking, good exercise.
It was cool.
John, I was talking before I was giving Gab some praise about how well organized the judging is at AC Beer Fest. With her doing that, very well organized, and I'm sure she's going to have Royal Bine organized like that also.
Well, I think that's hard. It's never easy to do something like that.
I
So
said we could have used her when we did the homebrew competition.
yeah, in the middle of a pandemic, that was a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, John, I'm feeling you on that right now, dude.
I know. Things are tough all over. And for all things,
Listen, we all have the story, right? I mean, I said it 3 times already, but everyone, what are you going to do? You just get up and grind, man. I don't know. I don't have the answer.
yeah, I mean, it's been, I think for everybody involved, it's been a really, really hard ride. But I mean, I think that this community has really tried to take care of each other pretty well. So it's been pretty interesting to see the support and how much beers in cans. And now as if we didn't have enough beer, now they're sending Bissell Brothers across the border.
Oh,
Oh
it's
my
nuts.
gosh, yeah.
I know.
We were told to start ordering cans now. We're like, we don't have equipment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's such a shortage of cans, and the allotments go out to the big guys first. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're same thing with hops, same thing. Get in a hop program and start the process. We were looking, a couple months ago, we were looking at Jug Handle to do some contract brewing with, because, they moved into their new space. They have some capacity. But, and they were great, awesome guys, and they're all about it. And Doug from Carton's over there now doing sales for them, which is, I think, a great catch for Jug. But,
Absolutely.
yeah, but then we went to back to the ABC and said, hey, listen, we want to start doing this. And it was harder to do contract brewing than our own space because we couldn't use that as the space. So I would have to go rent space somewhere else with an office and a warehouse. And that's where the beer would have to go once Jug Handle made it and be stored and distribute out of. I'm saying to myself, yeah, who has this funding like this? I said, and I said, all right, well, how long is it going to take? Oh, we're so backed up. It's the same as getting a license. You're probably looking at 6 months. I'm like,
Yeah,
6 months. I'm hoping to be open in
sense.
6 months.
I know, and the margins keep getting thinner every step that gets in.
Thinner. And then Jug handles the same thing. It's like, start looking for the cans because we can give you what we have, but we're on a tight leash too, So who knows? I mean, the industry right now is in influx, obviously, right? Because of the aluminum shortage. And I mean, you can get 12-ounce cans pretty regularly, but 16 ounces are really, really hard right now.
Yeah, a lot of the breweries that we see are putting stuff in 12-ounce cans right now just to be able to keep moving their stuff, which is, it seems unique, but it was really the way that we all went for the longest time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know Slack Tide does a lot of 12 ounce. I know Cape May does, certain brands 12 ounce still. And yeah, I mean, I'm good with either one, to be honest with you. I sometimes 12 ounces is plenty for me, 8 of them,
right.
but it's plenty.
I hear you.
I drink 616s or 812s.
Yeah, come
whatever.
on. We're going to argue over this? Come on.
Math was never my strong point.
No, that's why I'm in the beer business.
John, I was talking with Kenny before, and the first time I ever met Kenny was when I was doing an interview with Paul at the Arlington, and I was sitting at the bar, and I started talking to this guy about beer next to me, and Gab came over, and I knew Gab, and she introduced me to Kenny, and Kenny, what I didn't tell you is I told John, I said, I met that guy Kenny Ward. He says he's going to be opening the brewery then, and John said, "Oh, Kenny Kegs."
Yeah,
I didn't even know your last name until I was your daughter.
Yeah, I've definitely morphed into something that I never thought I'd morph into. Trust me on that.
Welcome to being a character.
It's all exactly. Richard Mandalorian, right? Same thing, dude. Same thing. I love it.
It's desert island time. We'll transport you to desert island.
Love it.
You're washed out on a desert island. Okay. Kenny, what's your 4-pack of beer?
Wow. Holy
washed
moly.
up with you. What would be your dream of what beer would wash up with you?
You know what?
It could be 4 different beers.
Yeah. No, oh, geez. I'll keep it pretty simple because, it's got to be Guinness, has to be one of them. Got to have a Guinness stout.
Now, true fact about Guinness, everyone says, oh, Guinness, a desert island, wouldn't that be hot there? Nigeria is the biggest market for Guinness in the world.
Wow, did not know that.
And also their biggest
brewery
is in Nigeria.
Really?
Wow.
Yep.
Well, if you ever had a Guinness over in Ireland, it tastes way different than the Guinness we have here.
I was there.
Yep. So you would know. So it's pretty. It's an amazing beer, though. I mean, anything nitro like that, and to come out as creamy as it does and consistent as it does, those brewers are the best. You know what? I'll go with the Miller Lite.
Okay.
Okay. Listen, only because it's been a staple of mine forever. I have jet season tickets, and when we go tailgate, we drink Miller Lite because we can't be drinking.
You have jet season tickets?
Yes. All right.
You better get Watson. Get Watson. He wants to come to you.
I disagree, Vic.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to give up the farm to get him, and we've been rebuilding.
Very much of a farm to give up.
I know. I know. I can go either. Hey, listen, when we get him, I'll be dancing the streets, but I can't get anybody to buy my season, so I'm just hoping somebody takes the bait eventually. But
what's the third one?
Third one, I just what I was just drinking before, Cane Head High.
Okay.
I'm a West Coast IPA guy for sure. That is quintessential, the number one beer I think in New Jersey for just marketing, taste, consistency, and branding. I think it's a wonderful beer. And the fourth one is going to be something from Royal Bine. Not sure what it is. All right.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what it is, but we'll find one and I'll throw it in a 4-pack as a consolation. All right. So that's my 4-pack.
It sounds good. And one more question, Kenny.
Yeah.
Somehow you have a solar powered turntable.
Where do you get this shit from? Vic, where do you get all this info from?
Vic
bro?
is good.
What album do you have with you?
No, yeah, I DJ'd for 25 years, so I'm a huge.
Okay.
I'm a huge music fan and still am to this day. And that's why I think vibe in a tap room is huge. And Gab is also, I mean, music is going to be so important to our tap room. I believe that, whether it's, I'm not putting on the playlist from Spotify and letting it roll. No way. Everyone does it. It's
very carefully curated.
Yeah. When you walk in our place, I don't care if it's a jazz to something, eclectic to, classic rock to jam band, whatever. We'll figure it out. But there's going to be things you never heard and you say, wow, this is neat. Let's hope anyway.
What we speak the same language.
So what album you got with you?
I am, without a doubt, I'm a huge Grateful Dead fan. I'm a huge Fish fan. But that's on the jam band side. I mean, I believe me, I'm what album from, listen, I'll go Hall & Oates Greatest Hits.
Okay.
Fantastic album.
Not bad.
Fantastic. I mean,
your ears were probably burning the other night because I was speaking about you when I was on our Cape May broadcast. And they just named Tonewood and Cape May got together and made a West Coast IPA, and we had to
hey, John, welcome to the podcast. John.
Fake
Welcome
news. We talked about this an hour ago.
Okay, fantastic.
But
Did you tell him how I embarrassed myself?
No, John, no, because I'm glad you're on.
No, let's hear it.
I didn't have the beer, but you did. Can you talk a little bit about it? I just know it's a West Coast IPA.
Perfect. It's a West Coast IPA. Tonewood and Cape May did a really, really good job putting it together. It's piney. It's the way it's supposed to be. 7.5%. Drinks great. But the thing that was really cool about it was they had black lighted the can. And
wow.
Yeah, the cans, and they, we saw a picture of in the middle, and it's a really groovy thing. It's a fish kind of, it's named after a fish song, and they did all the groovy stuff on there. But I was talking about Richard because Ryan Egan was on, and I was telling him how much I hate fish. But then later in the show, I redeemed myself by saying I love the Hamilton soundtrack. So things were
there you go. There you go.
You're back.
Yeah, no. Hey, this is for everybody. I get it.
For an album?
Well, give me your beers first.
My beers first. So I'm trying to think of if there's something on tap somewhere that I can't say no to. And it's probably going to be Tonewood's Fuego. That's a staple for me. I go out and I see it on tap. That's what I'm getting.
Okay.
I'm on a desert island, so I'd probably want something boozy. Maybe some Mad Elf.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing like drinking Mad Elf in 90-degree weather.
Hey,
it was like win.
It'll get the job done. And I love a spiced ale like that. Like Cape May's Mop Water, one of my favorites. And he can't stand spiced ales. He does not do them.
I'm not a fan of winter lagers and spiced ales and all that, but that's okay. I don't have to drink it. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Probably spinning off of your Miller Lite, just because that's a staple for you. Budweiser is what got me into drinking beer. So in college, I would go out to parties and I would tape a 40 of Budweiser to one of my hands.
Oh, that's
how I made friends, but that's
hands.
That's how I just got into beer in general. That was just a go-to.
Just a regular can of Bud.
Exactly. Can of
Nothing
Bud.
like an old bottle of Bud, can of Bud.
Nothing like good headache.
Yeah. Terrible hangover the next day.
Nothing like that nasty lager in your mouth. But anyway. And the fourth.
But that's just a classic for me. So the fourth.
Maybe it'd be a Royal Bine beer.
Yeah, I think I would also have to go with that.
I'm
a big Saison fan. It'll be our Saison one day, probably.
Yeah, we'll do some kind of wild ale, Saison, whatever. Like I said,
we got to get down to the Siege because that's what their specialty is. Their wild ales.
Yeah, that place looks awesome.
It looks good. Well, actually, you guys posted some pictures, or maybe Tom. I saw.
Tom was there last Sunday. I was there a couple weeks ago.
Tom was there, right? Yeah.
Looks beautiful. Yeah. It looks like, and I was talking to one of the girls who also works with John Henderson, Brianna Betts, and she's big within the AC community, and she's currently working with Heyday, but she was down there too the same day, and she said it looks like Sean and Amanda just spit up all over the place. And I was like, that's the perfect way to describe it. I can picture it in my head, and then I saw those pictures, and it was exactly what I had pictured. I got to get down there.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm really happy for those guys. I mean, they're good, just good people.
Mm-hmm. And again, opening up in the absolute worst time. And you know what? Getting the support, which is great, Yeah,
and it wasn't the easiest of things to do over there in Atlantic City, as you know, with everything else that goes on over there. They had the little bumps in the road. But great people. I have some of their beers in the fridge. They're really, really good, and they think out of the box a little bit, and I think that that's nice.
Yeah, that is. We were approached to go to AC back in the day when I had an investor that didn't pan out. He's like, let's get an AC. I'm like, dude, you don't want to be an AC for business. I mean, the hurdles you have to go through are just tough.
I'm hoping it changes a little bit with, you know,
I mean, everyone does, right? I mean, gosh, it's
no.
such an awesome spot, and it's come so long in the last decade. It really has, you know.
The orange loop, and you know, lots of things happen over there.
Hey, Stockton opening a campus on there. I mean, it's amazing, honestly. Great restaurants, you know, but we'll see what happens, you know.
Well, you kind of fit that rate. You're like on a beer trail right now where you're at. You're really in a good spot.
Yeah, we talked about that too, John, because you're late. But
Hey, I gotta go.
I'm awful, bro. I'm awful. It's just
I earned every bit of it.
Kenny, don't insult my guests.
This will be my last appearance on your show. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it.
It's been fun.
It's been fun. Take care, guys.
John, I never asked you these questions. What would be your 4?
Well, since you hate Founders so much, it'll be 4 Founders beers. That's it.
No, I do not hate Founders.
Yeah, what do you have against Founders?
No, I don't. This is what I have against Founders is every time they do the top beers in the country, there's like 4 freaking Founders beer, and it's the same beer.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
It's a different version of, which it's a great, amazing beer. You know, I have bottle in my cooler now, but my argument isn't against Founders. It's actually against that list of beers, because they have the same ones on there every year. It's like the freaking Emmys on TV where the same show wins the Emmy every year.
Vic, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because a good buddy of mine, you guys know who Doug Tracy is?
I do. A recent Cape May acquisition.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, Doug, you know, he worked for Ludlam and then he jumped over to Founders, which, you know, was, you know, a great catch, right? You would think, but I think he wound up understanding how hard it was to sell that product line other than all day IPA and KBS and CBS and all that. So, you know, as you try to get, you know, Centennial here and there, IPA a little bit, but after that, it is so hard to get their beers on any SKUs or any tap because, you know, you can't keep giving Founders tap handles to people. They want all day IPA, you know, and that's a solid beer. It's a great drinkable beer. I used to drink it all the time. And I think I drank so much of it, I got sick of it, but it really is a great session drinking IPA, right?
It's good for tailgating.
It is, and good for golf, good for whatever. But he jumped to Cape May, and that was great to see, John, because I think he'll be a great.
He's such a good guy. I mean, such a good guy and passionate, and you know, it's weird to see him with kids. Like it's kind of cool how
he's got 2 now, right? It's you know, so it was good to see him understand probably that this is they're probably pressuring him, number one, to put a ton of numbers up that you just can't do. You know,
no, it's tough. And they had some things go on with their brand during the time that didn't spin a really good look at what Founders management was, and I think that was pretty hard to overcome as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I heard their tap room's amazing and the beer's amazing in the tap room. But again, getting that stuff out to the marketplace, totally different story.
Yeah, and just now you can see KBS on the shelves. I remembered I'd have to get it the day that it came out, or else you were never getting it. But
oh my gosh,
yeah, that's the shame.
Yeah.
Richard, are you talking?
I'm not. Are you talking, Richard?
Hello, so 4 beers. You want 4 beers, Vic?
I can 4 beers.
Richard there.
Beers.
I won't do anything local though, because I don't want to get any phone calls tomorrow.
Okay.
So I would say the first beer is going to be Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Awesome.
That's the first one that kind of got me where we're at. Dogfish, either 90-minute or 120, probably 90-minute at this point. I think that's a beer that I thought I was cool when I was drinking, and I didn't really like it because you had to learn to drink the beer. And it turned out to be
slow
great.
Down, 9%.
Yeah. So it was that. Then I'm going to say, as far as something local, I'm going to tell 2 beers. Thermocline from Slack Tide, affectionately known as Thermocoline. They're the closest brewery to me, and that's when I started this whole South Jersey beer scene. Was in the Slack Tide tap room. You know, me and Tom got together. Then shortly thereafter, Vic emailed me, and that's kind of where we started doing all this. And I will say for the fourth one, Cape May IPA. I mean, they were one of the first ones that were around here. They were out. You were able to get it. And I'll give an honorable mention to Tuckahoe, too, for some of their beers. They were the ones that were out there first. They were the ones that you had to try.
I still am a Quatrain guy.
Good.
I think that's a solid IPA through and through.
New old school.
And Always Ready from Cape May is what we drink here a lot. My wife likes that. She likes that pale ale. That or Sierra is what she drinks. So whenever I see Always Ready, I'll grab her a 12 ounce 6-pack, right? Getting back to the can thing. But those are good choices, John. I like.
What about an album?
How about album, John? I know
My
you're a
album,
music
it's
snob.
easy.
Give me your album.
It's Wilco Yankee Hotel Foxtrot all day.
Oh, such a good record.
Yeah.
Dude, Wilco's solid, man. They're
Hates fish, likes Wilco. That makes sense.
I hate fish, but I like Wilco. And, I was just thinking I'm redoing the studio here, and I got this frame from a concert I saw for them in 2008
Cool.
at the Tower Theater. That's the poster there. I'm a big Wilco nerd.
Hey, Richard, you get a chance now again.
I'm ready. So finally, you guys don't know this, but for the past 4 or 5 podcasts, I've forgotten the name of one of my favorite beers of all time. And it was like a mental blank that made no sense at all, to have something you love so much and then not be able to recall the name of it.
Is it from Neshaminy Creek?
No, I never forget Leon. That's my first beer I ever fell in love with. So yes, Leon's going on the list. Leon from Neshaminy Creek. I just drank this year's and it's sensational. Just like
I
always.
never had that. What is it good?
It's
Oh, Leon is
What is
so
it, though?
it was and I'll just super go through it. The whole joke on my other Fear of Craft Beer podcast thing was they were all in the beer industry and I'm the musician, the radio guy, and I don't drink beer. And that was 5 years ago. And they would teach me about craft beer. Real early, I went to a place called the Blue Monkey and I had Leon on tap like 6 months after it was out.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, it's the greatest beer ever, because I like stouts. And they're like, oh yeah, you can't get this. It only comes out once a year. And I'm like, that was my whole learning about seasonal beers, about all that nonsense. And I'm like, you can't get stuff every day. Like, this is so stupid. I don't understand why you people want seasonal beers. It's all so dumb. But so I've looked forward to Leon every year, and it's definitely one of my favorites. So Leon's on the list. Rodenbach Alexander. That's the one I never.
There you go.
Okay.
I love that sour. That to me that's how I benchmark a sour. I benchmark it at the Rodenbach.
That's a good call right there. That's a good call.
3
Good beer.
Le Fin du Monde, if we're going to stay with, kind of big beers, in the world. Le Fin du Monde is
Would
just, huh?
Would you call me?
right. That's another one. We all, that's been around for 1,000 years. I don't have an IPA on here, unfortunately. I'm going to go with something that's not local, but something that's just, if I'm going to be on a desert island, I just want to remember this area for me, and just remember what I remember about beer growing up through time. I'm going to take a lager. I'm going to take a Yingling.
There you go.
It's a lager just that
Yes.
I've drank for 1,000 years through time, and we all know. And
Thought
when you
that
go to a
was
wedding and you see it,
Beer.
Listen, we got
It's a good
no
call,
light,
Richard.
Bud, England.
Yeah.
Can I change my list?
Yeah.
huh? Yeah, right.
Gab, never
John,
got
let me
your
guess.
album.
Narragansett, dude. Narragansett.
Gab, we never got your album.
I am between 2, but I think it would have to be Pearl Jam 10.
Oh, what a great record!
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
And that's
Good
like
record.
not their favorite record at all, but it's mine.
I never did. I never did an album. I just said bands I like. I would do American Beauty. I
No,
guess.
you said Hall & Oates greatest hit.
Oh, hold on. I did.
Yes,
I
you
changed
did.
my tune. I changed my tune. No pun intended.
'Cause
By
you're
the way,
a
I've
fan.
interviewed both of them, and they're both really nice. Hall & Oates.
Oh my
But they're
gosh.
very different humans.
We
Both very nice.
it's so funny. We had a party at our house this summer. We left the island and we came over to Manahawkin and we bought in a lake community. So the house is on the lake. It's so cool. And we did a lot of work to the house. It needed a ton of work. And so we had all our friends over and family, and we were supposed to go to Hall & Oates this summer at the Art
Right.
Center, PNC Art
Like
Center.
a group of 20 of us.
Yeah, it's like 20 of us. So we decided, say, hey, listen, let's do a Hall & Oates party in the backyard and just jump in kayaks and goof and get a big screen and just stream their Jersey City live show that they did
Right.
at Liberty State Park, Well, lo and behold, we get the screen, we get everything working, but the unit that we use to stream the thing is so old that all we have is Apple laptop. It doesn't read Wi-Fi. So
Oh.
I know. So that went to shit. So we just pretended we were watching the screen, but we had trivia going. We were wearing Hall & Oates press passes.
That's
VIP.
awesome.
It was so stupid and goofy, but my nieces and nephews are the coolest, funniest people, and we just took it to another level and just played Hall & Oates and 80s rock and goofy stuff. Yeah, it was.
That's cool.
And yeah. By 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, it got ugly, but it was a good time.
Well, Kenny, you're the Fish fan. So before I name my album, I'm going to tell you a funny story because Brian Egan is, on my show, and that other podcast I'm on is part of this Osiris label, and that's run by a couple guys named RJ, and the other guy is Tom Marshall.
Oh, right.
Lyrics for Trey's guy who writes lyrics.
Yep.
So we've had him on a couple times. And the second time we had him on was the Big Fish show winner in the summer of 19, that tour, and Ryan had never been to a Fish show.
Oh,
so Tom Marshall takes him as a guest to his first.
The best.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Like, yeah. So Ryan Egan's first Fish show is the guy who writes lyrics for Fish, and he takes him as his guest to his first Fish show. And all of us Fish fans are like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Great.
holy shit! Like, do you have any idea what's happening for you right now? Like, my first Fish show is June of '95.
Richard, the funniest thing when you take a non-fish person to a Fish show, that's the show, bro. That's the show.
He's hooked now. He's way in now.
Live act. I mean,
yeah, he's super in.
I took my brother-in-law, and then that was ugly because that was a bad idea because he's classic rock, and I'm like, come on, I got an extra ticket, and he came and he just couldn't process it. He goes, what's up with these people? What's wrong with these people? I'm like, there's nothing wrong with these people. It's just a totally different vibe,
Yeah, if you're a Dead fan, you might be able to get it because you can get the or an Almonds fan or the Black Crow. Like, you get the jam. Even Pearl Jam, they do a lot of improv. You might be able to get the jamming thing, but if you're not into that at all,
when you do say like bouncing around the room live, and they bring out literally trampolines,
yeah,
and they just bounce and play the song, and I'm like, this is heaven. Like, this is no one's doing this at this age, and this kind of style. But anyway,
the problem is if you catch a show where they do like a 36-minute tweezer,
yes,
you also can very much confuse.
I agree. And we've been there. I mean, even at the Dead shows, I've been there when Jerry didn't even know he was in the stadium. And you're just like, wow, this is bad, man.
Right.
You can't get worse than this. I don't care what I was on. This is a bad show. Like, I've
only seen 2 real Dead shows. And
several times I've turned on the Fish station on the way to work because I have an hour ride every day in honor of Richard. And I just can't. I just don't. It's not their musicianship. It's just I have to get Richard to curate a list for me so I can actually see what's going on.
Well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give my record. I'm gonna pick is a Fish album that's not it's a studio album. It's called Rift.
Right. Yeah,
it's
Rift is great.
That's the same one he gave me to listen to, John.
I don't see you wearing a Fish shirt.
There's a song called "Is It Fast Enough for You," John? Is it fast? Yeah. It's a ballad, and it's beautiful. Right, Richard. I mean,
Mike plays
and you go Rift, and you can go heavy, and you can go. Yep. Those are other songs on, and it's such an awesome album from top to bottom. It just takes you on a journey. Yeah, I agree, but not everyone's into it.
And you guys have such a. It's weird how you guys got close with these guys because Jay Rose saw the guy in a parking lot. I mean,
yeah,
that's where it started.
We got signed to them at the Unos. So Jay Rose is the guy he's like our host on the show, and he's a beer rep too for Hunterdon. And he's driving into this Uno's up in Hamilton, and there's Tom Marshall. If you know anything about Tom Marshall, what he looks like, he's a tall, goofy, gangly looking guy. He sees him walking into the place. So he's like, oh, well, screw it. I can't not say hi. Right. So, and he had his podcast at the time, Under the Scales. So he's like, stops him, and he's like, hey, man, big fan of your podcast, blah, blah, blah. And we first talked to Tom. He said his first thought was, oh, great, another dude. He's they start rapping. He says, hey man, we got this podcast, Fear of a Craft Beer Planet, we're big fans of blah blah blah. He goes, look man, we're going to be starting something in a few months. When you see it, you'll know, call us. And we did. We saw a thing about them starting Osiris, and we texted them, and they're like, yeah,
that's pretty cool.
They're very, very approachable people, apparently.
Yeah.
I actually
had like an hour lunch with him, just hanging out with him, just shooting the shit. He's a real normal guy. He's not like, there's no air of sobriety with him, and he doesn't like use that like I'm Trey's best friend mentality. He's a very weird, different than I expected. He's a completely approachable, normal, not regular. He's out there in the best way possible out there. But
all 4 musicians are insanely talented.
Yeah.
Beyond.
Yeah, there's no slouch in Fish. Yeah.
No, I mean,
I'm not a Fish fan either, but he is an amazing guitarist.
Yeah.
Trey Anastasio will go down as top
tremendous
5.
guitarist.
He's top
Yeah.
5. I agree. Yeah. So when you get into more lists, I put Trey Anastasio up there with and Paige McConnell, the keyboardist, is just
Yeah.
Juilliard Trey. He's sick. He's sick.
Are you a musician? Because you said you DJ'd.
No, I can't play a thing, bro.
But you DJ.
I DJ'd for many years. Yeah. So a lot of go-go clubs, all that kind of stuff. So it's good.
We're learning the
Coming to the stage.
Actually, I am learning the
Exactly.
bagpipes. I am learning the bagpipes right now, and
Wow.
it's a slow start. I got to admit,
Wow.
It's not easy.
it's very hard. It's called a chanter, and that's how you learn first with it's basically a reed style wind instrument. And then they'll introduce the bags and everything thereafter. Because I'm in an Irish club here in Ocean County, the Friendly Sons of the Shillelagh. So I got to embed myself into that, and that'll get me a little bit more in tune to what I should be listening to on a regular basis, other than Fish, Dead, this and that. So I've been listening to Irish music a lot in the last couple of years, and it's awesome. Besides the Dropkick Murphys and all that kind of stuff, but there's so much other stuff out there that's just. It's awesome. Yeah.
We went to Ireland for my wife's birthday a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it was a great trip. Awesome trip.
Where'd you go?
We went all around the country. We actually did Airbnb houses.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah.
We were in Dublin a couple of nights, Galway area a couple of nights, and Killarney area, the Dingle Peninsula.
Yep.
For
You actually wrote a nice article for the website about it.
Yeah, that was
It's on there. It was
that
nice.
was a lot of fun doing that. Yeah. Hey, Richard, album. You're in the darkness now.
Oh, sorry. I had another beer I wanted to put too that I thought on the list and I couldn't think of the name of it, so I had to tag the other.
You only
guys.
get 4. You can't have another.
I know. I was going to switch out one for that one, but it was Schrankele, by the way. It was a German smoked beer. I love smoked beers too, but I never remember the German names. I'm really bad.
Surprising.
But my album was Fish Rift. Usually, lately it's been either John Coltrane's "A Love Supreme" or Allman Brothers' "Fillmore East."
Oh gosh, anything Allman's too.
Yeah,
I
don't
think
have to be hitting the note because I'm a Warren and Derek fan. Obviously, Derek's another one, and Warren might be my Warren Haynes.
Yeah.
If gun to my head, if you tell me like one guitar player to take on a desert island or put into a band, it might be Warren.
Yeah,
because he does everything well.
I'm not a huge Mule fan. I'm obviously I've seen Dead, Fish, Allman Brothers 50 times minimum each band, right?
Right.
But Warren Haynes, and I love Derek Trucks too. Derek Trucks,
those two together,
phenomenal together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whirlwind of who's better, and it doesn't matter because they're two different styles, but it's still.
Well, they're Dickie and Dwayne, right? They're that same energy to me, like two completely different players that match perfectly together.
Yeah. So when the Allmans finished,
sadly,
I was going to the Beacon 3-4 times a week during those shows, the Beacon shows.
You went to those shows?
I was at that show probably 15 years straight, 2-3 nights a week.
Did you do the final run?
Yes, we did one final run, and
what night?
It was I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday.
You did the final night.
Yes, we did a final. Yes.
I had the actual, what was supposed to be Saturday, and then they added the shows because of Greg.
Yes.
You got the actual final.
And the great part about the Allmans were they always had a bunch of guests. So we saw, saw Clapton, did in with them. So Bernie Williams from the Yankees.
Yeah.
Bernie Williams.
He was a musician too. Yeah.
Phenomenal jazz musician. He sat in for a whole set and was just, he was part of it, It was really
had some amazing guests.
Yeah, it really was, You're just like, who is this guy? And all of a sudden, wow. But anyway, getting back to the Allmans. That's a great call with the Allmans Fillmore.
Yeah.
I go now.
Go ahead. Hit
My
it, buddy.
beers, Pilsner Urquell,
Nice.
Saison DuPont.
Oh.
Going to come back across up in Maine, Allagash White,
Oh, that's a staple.
Can't go wrong.
and Boulevard Tank 7.
Yeah. Dream on, buddy. That ain't coming back.
Oh.
You'll have to make it.
An album, Neil Young, everybody knows this is nowhere. Neil Young.
Oh.
You go wrong.
So,
Never a bad day with Neil Young.
No. No.
so let's start, we can start wrapping up now. Kenny and Gab, thank you guys.
Thanks for having us,
Finishing
guys.
thoughts on Royal Bine.
Yeah, listen, we've been a brewery in progress since early 2019. COVID, obviously a curveball, financial, obviously a curveball. It is what it is. We are opening. We're literally in the final stages of finally pulling permits to get this building done, and then ordering the equipment, and then thereafter. That's why there's no timeline. We, at this point, my wife wants the timeline tomorrow, thinking I'm going to earn a check soon, but that ain't going to happen either. So, but anyway, with that said, we're over the top excited to be part of the South Jersey beer scene, and all the other guys down in our area, Garden State, Hidden Sands, Tuckahoe, Seed, anybody, and even the local bars, I don't know. We just can't wait to do it, man. And it's just, again, it's not a get rich thing. It's a camaraderie thing. It's a scene that we want to be a part of. When the festivals start back up again, we want to be in that mode. I want to see the Brotherton guys again. I want to see, all the other guys that are, 3 Threes guys, that whole vibe of just missing everybody, sucks. So we're hopefully going to participate by third quarter, latest fourth quarter of this year. That would be detrimental, but where COVID takes us from there with outside dining and this and that, I'm not sure. So we'll see where it goes, but we're not nervous anymore. A year ago we were nervous. Now we're kind of like, all right, no, 8 months ago we were nervous. Now we're just like, all right, this has a vision now, meaning we could spread out a little bit and take this risk. So we're excited.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
We're excited for you guys.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Yeah,
much.
thanks, John.
We're definitely going to keep you guys posted, and come down and check out the space. Probably once we get started on it.
Yeah,
More than
well,
right now,
definitely.
but
Yeah, we start knocking down walls and start putting some touches on it. We'll invite you guys out if whoever locally
For
can get
sure.
down there and take a look at it.
Sure,
And
yeah.
I can be there in 5 minutes from my
nice,
office.
dude, nice. I'll
Literally
pack the
5
cooler, bro.
minutes
I'll
from
pack
one of
the
my
cooler.
offices.
Posted. And Mr. Kashu, thank you for coming on. I've been trying to get you on for about 1.5 years now.
Well, I'm too big to be on the show, to be quite honest with you, Vic.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I got bigger and better
you're
things
too
going on.
busy. You're like, John is like network, and we're like cable, Richard.
No, that's not true. I'll tell you what, if it was not for Vic, we would not have kept going a lot of this stuff because it's really, really hard.
Way to go, Vic.
Vic is,
seriously.
Vic is the soul of South Jersey beer scene.
Yep.
It
Thanks
really
for putting
is.
people together during this really weird time.
Really, this is
Yeah, Vic, with what I do my day job and the things that have been going on. Without Vic, I would have been just like, screw it, I'm done.
I'm telling you, but you guys and Kivovitz for NJCB and all the other guys doing some of the podcasts, it's awesome because there's not much to report on beside bad news and or the grind, but you just got to keep doing it, and one day happier times will come, right? And we're just like, everyone could talk about their successes, their collaborations, what they're releasing, what they're, right now it's just like, hey, listen, let's just drink beer, hang out, and get there,
The other thing I'd like to mention is what's over my head over here, the Brewery Strong.
Baby.
That's an awesome thing.
And it's been a little slow right now just because we're getting ready to ramp up again with another round of donations. We had another meeting the other night with Matt from Zigmeister's on the board, and Cindy from Twin Elephant, and Crystal from Max Narrow, and Fun Bobby from Tuckahoe, Rob Callahan, the president, and myself and Alexis Deegan. I mean, we're really excited to be able to start sending some money out to everybody's way once again. And we have a couple things coming up to do with that. So go to brewerystrong.org, like the page, spread the word. I mean, we've been able to give out a significant amount of money.
It's awesome.
More than almost $45,000, I think, as of today.
I didn't
So
realize it was that high. That's great.
yeah,
It's amazing.
Rob Callahan really hustled that, works hard. So
Killing it.
I'm just going to throw out there, I'm not a big fan of bumper stickers. I just never have been. But I've been repping the Brewery Strong on my car since
yeah,
Nice.
the first week you guys were a thing.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, right when they put up the link to buy, we bought some hoodies, the hats, bumper
merch.
stickers, had to. I mean,
and
that was-
all the money, the money we give people checks and they're just like, oh, we're not giving $1 million. They can, get gas and groceries for a couple weeks, maybe. I mean, it's been a lot of fun, and Vic's helped us with that as well, and Tom has helped, and Richard. They've all, our whole team. I say my whole team, but our whole team has jumped in to really help, and I'm really proud of it. if everything else went away and that was all we had, I'd still be,
Mhm.
it'd still be great for me.
And
So
John, that's going to grow. That's going to grow organically, right? Weird word, a little overused at times, but that is going to grow. Or Brewery Strong.
it's amazing.
It's going to branch, which is going to be wild. You know.
We do have some things coming up with that too. So
Yeah. Think about it. It totally makes sense in this world.
yeah.
Have that.
And Fun Bobby, man, I can't give him enough credit.
Yeah.
I mean, and stay tuned for my new podcast called Fun Bobby Rants. Not kidding.
I can't wait for that.
Just put on one loop. Just put on one loop, man.
I'm not kidding. I am dead serious. Fun Bobby Rants will be coming up on the South Jersey Beer Scene Network, and it will have a 2-minute disclaimer before we start.
Oh, beautiful.
Rob is great.
I will gladly
Oh
tune in.
my God.
Love that guy.
Hey, John, I don't mind saying this. I miss you so much.
I miss everybody,
John.
man. I'm like a hermit.
I miss you, buddy.
I'm like a hermit.
I know. Me too.
We're almost ready. We're almost breaking out, guys. We're almost breaking out.
I
Almost.
live in a little AM studio every day, so I get it. I get you, buddy. But
I know you're busy.
Richard, you got to stop.
Richard,
You got to
you
stop
cleaned
by
up nice.
one of these days for backyard beer,
yeah,
social distance beer.
I'm ready for the social distance beer, man.
I get my second vaccination next week. It's my
Awesome.
birthday this week. I get my second vaccination next week.
HB.
I should be ready to roll.
Good
Yeah,
deal.
my wife gets hers on it's Wednesday, actually, her second. She's
Yes, that's
she
cool.
works for Atlantic Care. She's a nurse, so she's excited. I can't wait to get on. I think I'm on the C list, right? 1C, whatever that is. So
I'm
there's-
on to,
you know,
yeah.
it just
All you gotta do is start smoking. You can get right on the list.
I know, right? Can
That's
you
what you
imagine?
told me the other day.
But that's it. I'll wait my turn, but I'm definitely getting it for sure. So
And for my side, I just say again, Kenny, Gab, thank you so much for having, for
thanks for
coming
having
on with
us,
us.
You.
John, thank you for joining. It's a pleasure to have you on here. As far as, like I said, South Jersey Beer Scene, southjerseybeerscene.com, Facebook, Instagram. You can, check out.
I'm thinking about making an OnlyFans for me too.
Oh,
You guys can't wait.
Ocean County Home Brewers. Like we're doing everything virtual
Mhm.
right now, but stay tuned for when we're back at live meetings. Those of you in Ocean County who want to learn some brewing, etc. Also, you can follow my page, Vic's Basement Brew. I'll usually I've been very lazy lately. I really haven't brewed anything in about a month and a half or so during the holidays. But with that, again, thank you everyone for joining us, for watching. Kenny, Gab, thank you. John, Richard, we are out of here. Cheers, everyone.
cheers, guys.
Thank you guys.
Take care. Thanks
Cheers.
again.